Ever wondered why the Earth looks so different on a map than on a globe? Well, buckle up because we're diving into the flat Earth theory. Now, we've all seen how the Earth is depicted on a map. It's flat, right? Corners, edges, and all. But then we have the globe, a spherical model that we've been told represents our planet. It's round, with no edges to fall off. This contrast can be quite confusing, can't it? On one hand, we have a flat surface with defined boundaries, and on the other, a round object with no ends or beginnings. This disparity is what fuels the flat Earth theory. Flat Earthers believe that the Earth is not a sphere but a flat disk. Fascinating, isn't it? But before we start questioning our geography teachers, let's take a step back. Is the Earth really flat? Let's take a closer look. Gravity, the invisible glue that stops us from floating off into space. Or is it? This mysterious force, gravity, is what keeps us grounded. It's the reason you're not floating around your room right now, or why your coffee cup doesn't fly off the table. But how does it work on a spherical Earth? Let's imagine the Earth as a giant apple, and you're an ant crawling on its surface. No matter where you go, you're always pulled towards the center of the apple. That's gravity. It pulls everything, even the tiniest ant, towards the center of the Earth. So whether you're in New York, Tokyo, or the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you're always standing upright, with your feet firmly planted on the ground. Now let's flip the script and consider a flat Earth. Picture it like a pancake. Here's the funny part. If gravity were to work on a flat Earth, it would still pull everything towards the center. So if you were to venture towards the edge, you'd start to lean inwards, like a character in a slapstick comedy routine walking up a wall. And those poor folks living on the edge, they'd be living life at a permanent, crazy angle. Sounds absurd, right? That's because it is. Gravity just doesn't work on a flat Earth. It's like trying to stick a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't fit. So next time someone tells you the Earth is flat, remember our little ant on the apple and the slapstick character on the pancake. And remember, gravity isn't some magical, invisible glue that can be bent to fit any shape we fancy. It's a fundamental force of nature that keeps us all in our place. So if gravity doesn't work on a flat Earth, what about the way ships disappear over the horizon? Ever watched a ship sail off into the distance and wondered where it went? If you're a flat earther, you might be thinking, it must have sailed off the edge of the world. But hold on to your hats, folks, because this isn't a pirate movie. It's a bit more complicated than that. Let's start with perspective. It's all about how we see objects from a distance. Perspective explains why that skyscraper looks like a toy from your airplane window, or why that ship seems to shrink until it vanishes entirely. It's not because it's falling off the edge, it's because of the curvature of the Earth. Imagine you're standing on a beach, watching a ship sail away. As it moves further and further, it seems to disappear, starting from the hull and ending with the tip of the mast. If the Earth was flat, wouldn't the entire ship just shrink into a tiny dot before disappearing? But that's not what happens, is it? Now, if you're a flat earther, you might be thinking, wait a minute, are you saying the ocean is curvy? Well, not exactly. It's the Earth that's curvy. The ocean is just along for the ride. So why does the ship disappear hull first? Well, it's because as the ship moves away, it's actually going over the horizon, the edge of your field of view, not the edge of the world. It's not about falling off, it's about sailing over a curve. This phenomenon is not exclusive to ships. Ever noticed how the sun rises and sets? Or how the moon seems to pop up from nowhere and then just as mysteriously disappears? That's all thanks to our curvy Earth too. In the flat Earth world, we'd have to believe that ships have some secret trapdoor to disappear through, or that the sun and the moon are playing an eternal game of hide and seek. But in reality, it's just the magic of perspective and the science of our spherical Earth. Well, that's one mystery solved, but what about sunsets and eclipses? Sunsets and eclipses, nature's magic tricks. But how do they work on a flat Earth? Imagine, if you will, the sun circling above a flat Earth like a cosmic ceiling fan. It's an interesting thought, isn't it? But if that were the case, we'd witness some peculiar phenomena. For instance, we'd have to bid adieu to the concept of time zones. When it's breakfast in New York, it would also be breakfast in Beijing. And that's not all. Picture this. The sun, instead of setting below the horizon, would gradually shrink into a tiny dot and disappear into the night. Sounds like a vanishing act worthy of Houdini. Now let's bring the moon into the picture, shall we? If we lived on a flat Earth, lunar eclipses would be a no-show. Why, you ask? Because for a lunar eclipse to occur, the Earth needs to be positioned between the sun and the moon. But on a flat Earth, There's no way for our planet to sneak in between these celestial bodies without blocking out the sun entirely. So, no sneaky Earth, no lunar eclipse. Let's contrast this with our spherical Earth model. Because of the Earth's rotation, we experience the sun rising and setting at different times depending on where we are. As for lunar eclipses, they occur because our round Earth sometimes gets in the way of the sun's light reaching the moon. It's like a cosmic game of hide and seek, with the Earth playing the sneaky hider. In the end, it's clear that sunsets, time zones, and lunar eclipses just don't quite add up on a flat Earth. But on a spherical Earth, they make perfect sense, like pieces of a well-crafted puzzle falling into place. So we've seen that gravity, perspective, and even the sun and moon don't quite work on a flat Earth. What does that tell us? So, flat Earth or giant floating rock? The choice is yours. We've journeyed through a world of ideas, from invisible glue keeping us grounded to ships playing hide and seek on the horizon. We've even had breakfast at sunset, thanks to a sun that apparently forgot to follow its schedule. But what does science have to say about all this? Well, it's pretty clear. The evidence points to a giant floating rock, not a flat disk. Let's take gravity, for instance. It's not an invisible glue, but a force that pulls everything toward the center of our planet. This force is what makes us feel down as towards the Earth, no matter where we are on this globe. And what about ships disappearing over the horizon? It's not magic, but the curvature of the Earth. As a ship sails away, it doesn't fall off the edge, but simply goes beyond our line of sight, disappearing hull first due to the Earth's curve. And the sun, our reliable timekeeper, doesn't circle around a flat Earth, but rises and sets due to the Earth's rotation. This rotation, combined with our planet's spherical shape, explains why we don't have breakfast at sunset. Unless, of course, you've had a really long night. Finally, we have the trump card: images of Earth from space. These images clearly show a spherical Earth, not a flat disk. Of course, some might argue these are all part of an elaborate hoax, but really, wouldn't it be easier to just take a photo than to create an international conspiracy? So, when it comes down to it, the choice isn't really between a flat Earth or a giant floating rock. It's between accepting the overwhelming scientific evidence or clinging to a theory that, while entertaining, simply doesn't hold up under scrutiny. But science says globe. For more enlightening and entertaining science, stay tuned with us.